Hello and welcome to this Divine Partnership Coaching video. I've changed my channel name. I've decided I'm still Madam Thanatos, but I'm going to go by Wickedly Divine Feminine as a joke that came up in one of Divine Maverick's readings, which was great. And I have to say this new camera is driving me nuts because I can see all my imperfections and it's so hot today. But that actually leads me to what I want to talk about. This is another Synchronicities video, and actually I thought it was interesting because there's several readers that I really appreciate listening to. Divine Maverick is one, Fiery Grace the Gifted is another, I think it's Jupiter 1111, Goddess Energy, and a couple others, and a lot of them have been getting a lot of wands coming up in their readings, both in and out of the twin flame journey. And a couple of them have even talked about, like, this energy is on fire. And I did a reading called Buckle Up Buttercup, and it was for yesterday's portal 9/9/2020 and tomorrow's portal 9/11/2020. And I was talking about how, like, here in Washington, up in the Snohomish County area, we have a bunch of smoke coming up. And I thought at the time it was from wildfires in California and Idaho, but actually a bunch of Washington state forests are also on fire. And what I find interesting synchronistically about that is that yesterday Mars in Aries just went retrograde. So it's been in Aries and it's going to stay in Aries because it's now going backwards. So it's staying in that sign for an extra long time. And because Aries is ruled by Mars, that makes it exalted. And that's an interesting thing. It's like extra fiery energy. And actually in this state, like, typically, well, I mean, most of my life, by this time in September, it would already be really cold. It wouldn't be hot anymore. We're still getting 90-degree weather, and it's very smoky around all over the place. It's, complicating things, and I'm not sure if what's coming is the same as we had a couple years ago, where people were actually having to wear masks just to be able to breathe from all the smoke going around. But it's interesting that that's mixing together, especially with the Cardinal Grand Cross, the Clash of the Titans, and with 9/11 coming, which is typically a day when Saturn and Pluto are very close to each other, and it's also Twins Day. And it's, if you look at 9 plus 11 is 11, that's justice, and then you add 2020 and you've got 15, so we've got justice and the devil in that. So those are synchronicities that you can look at. You can also break down 9 is the Hermit, 11, again, justice, 2 is the high priestess, and 4 is the emperor. So those in some way all play a part. Now another thing, just like with the fires that I was talking about, to where that it's not only fiery wand energy, it's also, if you look at it, like, okay, so there's an emphasis on fire signs and the element of fire, which is a creative force, but it destroys most of the time. Now, fire can create, though, like, talk to somebody who does glass blowing, right? Or folks who make bricks, things like that. Fire can be creative or destructive. It is typically, though, destructive. Even to use it to create, like with glass blowing, you have to use it to melt something down in order to remake it into something else. You have to get it hot enough. It's funny, the song coming, "It getting hot in here, take off all your clothes." Like, if you're on the twin flame journey, you could consider a synchronicity like that to mean that there's likely something that you and your twin and or your soul tribe are going to go through, to where it's going to get really hot. And that can mean, especially with Mars retrograde, that can mean impatience, it can mean tempers, it can mean breaking down of relationships, it can mean wands often have to do with boundaries, because it can be setting boundaries. And I think most importantly, it has to do with phoenix moments, which I typically associate more with the death card, but it can also be associated with the Ace of Wands and the Tower. And a phoenix moment for me is when like, you have so much emotion and so much overwhelm and so much stimulation that you feel like you're gonna burst, and you kind of set yourself up with enough false foundations and enough difficulty that you have to change. You cannot avoid it. And the more you do, the more you just feel the same thing, until you almost, like, that old layer of you just burns away and just poof, like, it goes away. But I wanted to talk about too, like, so there are other synchronicities that will come into my day, and I try to interpret, I try to discern, like, is this a part of something that I'm seeing or not? Now, I try to look for patterns. There are some times that if I see something one time, I might include that, but I don't know. I like to be magical and rational, so I try to go, a little bit in the middle. What is it? They say there's a fine line between genius and madness, right? Which is the line that the fool walks on. So an example is, like, I actually got some justice and got reinstated to a delivery app that I used to do, where I was unfairly kicked off the app. It's a long story on that, but that was, for one, that was a synchronicity for me, justice coming in. I also got a message from YouTube that they project that within the next 30 days I should be at 1,000 subscribers or shortly thereafter. So yay that. So that's justice and abundance coming and recognition, right? Those are very much synchronistic to me. Another thing is that I keep seeing the word star and hearing the word star and seeing stars on people's houses or addresses I deliver to will equal the number 17, which is the star, or I'll see a fair amount of 9 energy, which is the hermit, and if you look in the hermit's lantern, it is the star from the star card. And that to me is a wish, it's guidance, it's balance, it's music, it's creativity, it's a little bit of Aquarius energy. And for me, with the twin flame journey, typically it is about a wish coming to me that I want, and also that my DM is thinking about me or wishing for me or wishing for something different. And also included with that is seeing dandelions, like dandelion heads, or the cottonwood tree things, because a lot of people will blow them out and make a wish. Or I'll see references to blowing out birthday candles, right? Like wishes, things like that. The star, wishes. Other thing, like I got... there's a bill that came in, and the company from it is named Sentry. I'm not going to go into a bunch of details on that to protect private information, but the word Sentry is very interesting. And it is a one-time thing, and this is what I mean, like, it could be nothing, but considering that we're seeing a lot of this fire sign stuff, and also I did in the other video, I talked about all the fire and the smoke around can be like a fog, and it can be confusing things, smoke and mirrors, stuff like that. And even, it's funny, the others have been communicating with me, and they'll send like a typo, and they may have meant to have said fear, but the phone corrected to fog, right? Even my DM was even one who did that. It can also be, and this will be very ironic considering me smoking, because all the smoke being around, it can cause lung problems. Now, energetically, the lungs are connected to the heart chakra, and fire, the element of fire connected to the wands is often connected to our it's both our root chakra and our sacral chakra, but more so the sacral chakra, which is where we are creative and resourceful and where our inner child is connected. But when we are disconnected from that, we are overly rational. We're not connected to our sea of creativity, and we're very bratty and impetuous and childish and immature. The wands are the second suit, so they're not quite as immature as the swords and not quite as cutthroat, but there definitely is think Aries, Leo, Sag stuff in when they're unevolved. It can be irrational, reactive, jumpy, flighty, things like that. Now also, I've been hearing a lot of songs that have the words the star or the sun in it, including Here Comes the Sun, and or Honey, you are my shining star, don't you go away. Now, what's interesting is to hear a lot, like, I mean, I've been logging it. It's been happening so much, I've been logging it. And this is mostly on radio stations that I have no control over. They're not even my YouTube or Pandora playlist. It's just the radio, or I'll walk into a store that maybe I'm doing a delivery for, and I keep hearing these songs that have the sun and the star in it, right? So then think about that as a synchronicity. Then I might, the order that I pick up, the total might equal 17 or 19 or 9, right? And so if you put all those things together, you can start to piece together what the universe is communicating to you, right? Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here just to have a little bit of a shorter, I just saw 10:10 on the clock there, a shorter video about synchronicities, because I know most of mine are long. If you have any questions or you would like to know about specific kinds of synchronicities, please let me know. I love talking about them. It's a little bit of a process though, because I know that there are not a whole ton of videos out there about synchronicities in general, and especially not about them in the twin flame journey. Either way, thank you so much for your likes, shares, and subscribes, and I will see you in the next video.